What if I told you there was a time when music didn't come from TikTok and rock bands didn't need a viral dance challenge to sell out stadiums? Hard to believe, right? Now imagine guitars screaming through giant amps, crowds of long-haired fans waving lighters instead of cell phones, and bands that didn't just make music, they defined generations. These weren't boy bands or talent show winners. These were larger-than-life legends who bled passion, broke guitars, and made every teenager in America believe that music could actually change the world.
Trust us in finding you.
We're counting down the top 10 greatest rock bands of all time. And trust me, by the end, you'll either be cheering or yelling at your screen like it's 1977 again. Let's go. 10. Radiohead, the weird geniuses of rock. You ever meet someone who seems like they're from another planet, but in a good way? That's Radiohead. When these British blokes burst onto the scene in the early 90s, folks thought they were just another alternative band with a hit single. Remember Creep? Of course you do. Your kids probably blared it while sulking through high school. But Radiohead didn't stop there. Oh no. By the time they dropped OK Computer, they turned rock into something more cerebral, abstract, and downright brilliant. They fused electronics, orchestras, and a truckload of existential dread to make albums like Kid A and In Rainbows. And guess what? They made it all sound cool. They're the band that dared to ask, what if rock music had a panic attack, but in a poetic way? Love them or hate them, you can't deny their influence. Radiohead is the band that made being weird into an art form. 9. The Beach Boys, California Dreamin' with a twist picture.
And it comes out something like this.
It's 1965. You're cruising down the Pacific Coast Highway in a Mustang convertible. Sun's out, surf's up, and the radio's blasting Surfin' USA. Ah, the Beach Boys.
Everybody's gone surfing, Surfin' USA.
America's clean-cut answer to the British invasion. But don't let the striped shirts and catchy hooks fool you. Underneath the Sunshine harmonies was Brian Wilson, a musical genius wrestling with demons and composing symphonic pop that could rival Beethoven on a surfboard. With Pet Sounds, they flipped the script and showed the world that American rock could be as introspective and experimental as anything from across the pond. Over 100 million albums sold, a rivalry with the Beatles, and harmonies so smooth they could make your lawn grow greener. Yeah, they earned their spot. 8. U2, the Irish invasion with a conscience. Now hold on.
Nothing left to lose.
Before you roll your eyes at Bono's sunglasses collection, let's give U2 their due. These Irish lads came up during the punk and post-punk explosion, but they didn't just sing about teenage angst. They sang about politics, faith, love, and the state of the world. And they did it with style. With the Joshua Tree, they became global icons.
With or without you, I can't live.
But they didn't stop there. They reinvented themselves with Achtung Baby in the 90s, went weird with Suropa, and even snuck onto everyone's iPhone once. Remember that? Classic Bono. From stadium-filling anthems to heart-on-sleeve activism, U2 didn't just play music. They tried to save the world between guitar solos. Is that annoying or admirable? Hey, maybe both, but there's no denying their place in rock royalty. 7. Metallica, thrash, burn, repeat.
Trust us in finding you.
If the other bands on this list are fine wines, Metallica is a shot of gasoline chased with broken glass. Emerging from the sweaty underground thrash metal scene of the early 80s, Metallica didn't ask for attention. They demanded it. Fast, loud, and ferociously angry, they gave metal a brain and a backbone. Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning. And Justice for All. These weren't just albums, they were sonic freight trains. Then came the Black Album, and suddenly they were mainstream. Some fans cried, "Sell out," but the rest of the world banged their heads and bought 30 million copies. Multiple Grammys, legendary live shows, and enough headbanging to cause permanent neck damage. Metallica didn't just break the rules, they shredded them. 6. The Who. Explosive, loud, and slightly insane. You ever smash your guitar on stage just because? The Who did it first, and better. Pete Townshend windmilled his guitar like a lunatic. Keith Moon practically exploded behind the drum kit every night. Roger Daltrey? That guy screamed like his life depended on it. And sometimes, it probably did. They didn't just play music, they made rock theater. With concept albums like Tommy and Quadrophenia, they turned records into rock operas. And they set the bar for what a live performance should be. Unpredictable, raw, and let's be honest, a little dangerous. You might not remember all the lyrics, but you'll never forget the sound. 5. The Rolling Stones, rock and roll's undying rebels.
I went to the Chelsea drugstore.
All right, let's cut the crap. You knew they'd be here. The Stones aren't just a rock band, they're an institution. Formed in 1962, yes, 1962, and somehow still alive and touring, these guys are the roaches of rock, in the best way possible. Mick Jagger's strut? Legendary. Keith Richards' guitar? Dirty, raw, and unmistakable. Charlie Watts? May he rest in rhythm. With songs like Gimme Shelter, Paint It Black, and Start Me Up, they mixed blues, rock, and just the right amount of sleaze to become the ultimate bad boys of music. And let's not forget, they outlasted most of their critics. Now that's rock and roll. 4. Pink Floyd, the sound of your inner thoughts.
Of the place we lived when we were young, in a world of magnets and miracles.
Ever sit in a dark room, light a candle, and question your existence? Then Pink Floyd probably wrote your soundtrack. With their epic concept albums and mesmerizing light shows, these psychedelic pioneers turned rock into a philosophical journey. Dark Side of the Moon spent 741 weeks on the Billboard 200. That's not a typo. That's 14 years. Their music was haunting, their lyrics introspective, and their albums, not just songs, experiences.
Down this road we've been so many times.
And David Gilmour's guitar solos, they didn't shred, they wept. Pink Floyd made it okay to think too much and made it sound beautiful while doing it. 3. Queen, the kings and queens of theatrical rock.
Another hero, another mind.
Rock Freddie Mercury once asked, "Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?" Answer, it was both. Queen didn't just play rock, they blended it with opera, metal, disco, and pop, then sprinkled in a truckload of glitter and drama. Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, Somebody to Love.
Singing, we will rock you.
These weren't just hits, they were events. Freddie's voice could go from whisper to stadium-shaking scream in a heartbeat. Brian May's guitar solos? Instantly recognizable. And their live shows? Forget it. Their performance at Live Aid in 1985 might just be the greatest 20 minutes in rock history. Queen didn't follow trends, they made everything a spectacle. And the world loved them for it. 2. Led Zeppelin, the thunder gods of rock.
Way down inside, honey, you need a...
Imagine you took blues, cranked the amps to 11, and summoned a Norse god to play drums. That's Led Zeppelin in a nutshell. Robert Plant's howl, Jimmy Page's wizard-like guitar riffs, John Paul Jones's subtle brilliance, and John Bonham's apocalyptic drumming. Together, they created something mythic. With Stairway to Heaven, they made the most argued about song in history. And with Whole Lotta Love and Kashmir, they redefined what rock could feel like. Their albums weren't just played, they were studied, dissected, and worshipped. Led Zeppelin didn't just play music, they conjured magic. 1. The Beatles. Yeah, and of course it's them, come on, who else could it be?
Don't let me down.
They started as mop-topped heartthrobs from Liverpool, but by the time they broke up just 8 years later, they had reinvented music, more than once. John, Paul, George, and Ringo, 4 names that changed everything. From I Want to Hold Your Hand to A Day in the Life, the Beatles evolved faster than the world could keep up. They experimented with sounds, structure, culture, and somehow never lost the melody. 7 Grammys, 1 billion records sold, and they still influence music today. Every band you've heard on this list, they owe something to the Fab Four, not just the greatest rock band, maybe the greatest band, period. So, did your favorite band make the cut? Are you furious we didn't mention the Eagles or Boston? Do you think Nirvana was robbed? Let us know in the comments. Yell, debate, reminisce, and don't forget, if this video hit your nostalgia nerve just right, give us a like, share it with a fellow rocker, and subscribe for more top 10 lists that'll take you back to the golden age of music. Until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, rock and roll will never die.